Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
Waiting to rise again.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show. Brought to you by Quirks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is the moment you've all been waiting for.
Locking down the middle of the day. Live from the Raising Cane studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Welcome in. Hunt Palmer coming to you from the Raising Cane studio downtown in the capital city on this Friday. Means we're brought to you by Corks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp. Jordan Kitchens, Cassie Spazzali back there on the ones and twos. We are fired up. You are here. We got lots to do. We're going to talk some LSU football a little bit later on. DJ Pickett met with the media. I've got some thoughts on his second year in Baton Rouge. We'll do that in 30 minutes. Michael Katz covers Ole Miss. He's going to be with us in an hour to talk about a big series between the Tigers and Rebels from Swayze Field over the next 3 days. Of course, the Masters is ongoing in Augusta, Georgia. Sam Burns sniffing around the top of the leaderboard. Just dropped the shot. Rory McIlroy in the solo lead, but Sam Burns one shot behind him. We will go to Augusta in 15 minutes to chat with Scott Rabalais, who's there for the Advocate. So lots and lots to do. Let's crank it up with our opening drive.
Welcome to the big league.
It's time for Hunt's Opening Drive. Presented by Fabry Chevrolet GMC in St. Francisville.
LSU and Ole Miss this weekend, and for both teams, it's a very similar spot. You've got an Ole Miss team that has played a very difficult schedule. They had to go to Austin to play the Texas Longhorns, who are an excellent team. Played Mississippi State already. They went to Gainesville and took a series, but they're coming off an emotional series win. They were losing 2-0 in the rubber game in Gainesville and came back with a 5 spot late to win the rubber game 5-2. So a nice road series win. They come back at 5-7 to Oxford. LSU obviously got off to a bumpy start the first 2 weekends, but they're coming off a big rubber match win over the Tennessee Vols. And so both teams kind of in a similar spot in that way. LSU 6-6, Ole Miss is 5-7. So this is clearly a big series. They're all big for these teams moving forward. I can make the suggestion that every series moving forward is huge for the Georgia Bulldogs. They're 10-2 in league play. They got an RPI in the top 5. Like, you have a bad weekend, that's okay. LSU had a bad weekend against Auburn last year. No big deal. You were still a top 8, accomplished all your goals. If LSU or Ole Miss has a bad weekend at some point in the next couple of weeks, like, your math starts to get very, very difficult in terms of doing the things that you want to do. So it's a big weekend for both of these teams, and I think it's an interesting matchup from a couple of perspectives. I will start with this discussion on Ole Miss's pitching. Now, keep in mind, as I tell you about Ole Miss's pitching, it's going to sound a little bit intimidating, but to be fair, their offense has been very bad. So this is a pitching-heavy team. The offense has not been good. I'm going to get to the offense in a little bit. I want to talk about their pitching right now. Hunter Elliott is going to get the baseball tonight. Hunter Elliott has been around Ole Miss for what seems like 100 years. He was a true freshman when they won the national championship in 2022. He and Dylan DeLucia were part of a two-headed monster at the top of the rotation that pitched that team through the Coral Gables Regional, through the Hattiesburg Super Regional, through Omaha, and won him a national championship. He missed basically 2 seasons with arm issues. And he is back, and he is as good as ever. That is not to suggest he is a first-round talent. He's not. Hunter Elliott is the 3rd most talented starter LSU will face this weekend. To say it another way, he's the least talented starter they have. Well, why does he go on Fridays? They know what they're going to get from Hunter Elliott on Fridays. He is a veteran in this league. He's a bulldog, and he's going to go out there and get some guys out. What he's not going to do more often than not is get into the 8th inning. I'll give you the line scores in terms of innings pitched for Hunter Elliott this year. Opened the season against Nevada, 5 innings. Missouri State, 4 2/3. Baylor, 5 innings. Evansville, 5 innings. Texas, 5 innings. Now here's the longest outing, Kentucky, 6 1/3. But Mississippi State, 5 1/3. At Florida, 4 innings. His pitch count gets elevated into the 90s pretty quickly because he doesn't have dominant put-you-away stuff. What you're going to see from Hunter Elliott tonight is a left-handed pitcher that's going to go out there. He's going to throw a riding fastball that's not in the high 90s. It's in the low 90s. He's got a nice changeup. It's his best pitch. Good breaking ball. And he is an undersized lefty with a mad attitude. Like, he is ticked off on the mound. But he's not dominant. he's just consistent. He never gives up 7 runs. He never really gets into the 8th inning. And they trust him on Friday to get them off to a good start. So that's Hunter Elliott. That's Friday. On Saturday, you will face Cade Townsend. On Saturday, you will face a potential top 15 pick in the coming MLB draft. Cade Townsend has a fastball in the upper 90s, a nasty, hard, tight slider that I saw anywhere from 86 to 91 in the highlights I was watching. He will throw a changeup. This is the elite stuff. Saturday is the nasty stuff. I told you about that last week with Landon Mack on Friday, but Tegan Coons on Saturday. You're looking at Cade Townsend on Saturday. He is the real, genuine article. He's excellent. And then on Sunday, they're going to go to Rabe. Rabe has been a bullpen guy for them, and he's moved into the starting rotation. He throws 98, 99. It is legit stuff. I mean, it is hard stuff. He's a redshirt freshman. They developed him over 2 seasons, and he throws really hard. Now, he's not stretched out. Last week was his longest outing. He went about 77 pitches. He has not gone 100 pitches. He was a bullpen guy, and now he's a starter. I give you all this to say that LSU is facing 3 upper line pitchers this weekend. The last 2, Saturday and Sunday, that's based on stuff. Friday, it's based on pedigree and what you know Hunter Elliott is. And LSU's bats have woken up over the last 9 games. I've given you all the statistics. I've told you about the run totals. They scored a ton on Kentucky on Sunday. They scored a lot on Kentucky on Saturday. They scored a lot on Tennessee on Friday. They scored a lot on Tennessee on Sunday. Scored a lot on Louisiana Tech, a lot on Southern, a lot on Bethune-Cookman. They're putting the bat on the ball. They hit 11 home runs last week. They're swinging the bats much better in the lineup. However, most of that, if not all of that, is coming on the back end of Kentucky staff. Not Jackson Jelkin, the back end of it. It's not coming off Tegan Coons. It's not coming off Landon Mack in Tennessee. That's their first 2 guys. It wasn't coming off Cam Appenzeller, the ace bullpen guy. It's coming off the bullpen from Tennessee that's not any good. It's coming off Louisiana Tech midweek arms, Southern arms, Bethune-Cookman arms. They're not hitting aces. They're hitting the bad bullpen guys. And I told you on Monday, like, that's step 1. You were just not hitting it all. I don't expect you to go from not hitting it all to teeing off on everybody. You got to hit the mediocre pitching before you can start scrapping and clawing against the good pitching. Well, here's the good pitching. So you got to turn that on because you have to hit some good pitching this weekend. This is my belief. I don't know what Chris Stanfield and Seth Dardar can do this week, and those 2 guys are key parts of your lineup. Stanfield handles velocity very well. He's a real key contributor on the team. We know that. Dardar has really turned it on of late. He's hitting over 400 in the last 9 games. I don't know if those guys are going to play tonight. I don't know if they're going to play Saturday. I don't know if they're going to play Sunday. They got banged up on Tuesday. Chris Stanfield ran into the wall. Dardar got hurt sliding to second base. Maybe they're ready to go tonight. But Jay Johnson didn't know that yesterday when he talked to the media, talked to the morning show guys. So my belief is with maybe those 2 guys out, like, I don't see LSU doing a lot of damage to Cade Townsend. I just don't. And Rabe is a tough customer on Sunday as well. The way LSU has hit high-level arms, I just think that those are going to be real battles. I think LSU can get to Hunter Elliott. I think they can drive his pitch count up. I think they can get into the bullpen early. I think they can get into the bullpen in the 5th inning, maybe the 6th. If you get into the bullpen in the 6th, that gives you 4 frames, 12 outs to do some work. And depending on the score, Mike Bianco will have to decide where he goes out of the bullpen. But tonight is a crucial game. It's a crucial game. Because, ladies and gentlemen, if LSU loses tonight with Case and Evans on the mound against a subpar lineup that strikes out a lot, with Zach Cowan ready to go, with Devin Sheeran ready to go, with Gavin Guidry ready to go, if you lose in game 1, this weekend is a bad matchup. Because Cade Townsend is better than William Schmidt, and Rabe is better than whatever LSU is doing on Sundays right now. It's listed Grant Fontenot. It was listed Gavin Guidry last week. It hasn't been good on Sundays no matter what. Now, you've won the last 2 Sundays because you've hit 1 billion home runs, but you're not going to do that against this Ole Miss staff. This is the best staff LSU's faced all year. If you win tonight, you just got to find a spot here or there to maybe shut down Ole Miss's bad offense or get a pitcher hot that strikes out a bunch of guys, or you hit a couple home runs. But if you lose tonight, I don't like the look of the weekend. I'll just be real honest with you. I told you at the top of the segment, I'm going to get to Ole Miss's offense later on in this hour. They strike out a ton. They don't get a lot of hits. Their numbers are terrible. So I'm not here trying to tell you that Ole Miss is the cream of the crop in the SEC. They're 5-7 for a reason. That reason is that Townsend missed 2 weeks because he got hurt, and their offense has not been good enough. So this is not a juggernaut a team that Ole Miss, but I'm just looking at the matchup. And if the matchup is that it's Cade Townsend on Saturday against a lineup with no Chris Stanfield, no Seth Darnold, it's got Trent Caraway and Daniel Harden out there, I don't like that. And I think that Ole Miss has a significant advantage in pitching on Sunday because LSU's Sunday pitching is MIA without Cooper Moore. So that means tonight is just vital. And Hunter Elliott's a good pitcher. He's not a first-round pick. He's not a dominant pitcher. He's in college. He was in college in 22, 23, 24, 25, and 26. You're talking about a fifth-year guy. Elite talents don't play college baseball for 5 years. He's a bulldog. He's a legend at Ole Miss is what he is. And he's a heck of a college pitcher. But you need to drive his pitch count up. You need to run one out of the ballpark against him. You need to get him out of the ballgame in the fifth inning and make Mike Bianco determine what he's going to do with his bullpen, especially if they're down. And part of that falls on Case and Evans. I'm going to talk about LSU's pitching when I talk about Ole Miss's offense. But you need your pitchers to step up against a lineup that strikes out a ton this weekend. You need them. Because LSU's not going to go out there Friday, Saturday, Sunday and score 30 total runs this weekend. They're just not. You're not getting in slugfest with the lineup LSU has against those Ole Miss arms. You're not. So what you got to do is keep the score low, stay in the game, get big hits in the 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th inning. That's how you win the games. That's how you got to do it. So that's what I'm looking for this weekend. I'll talk about Ole Miss's bats later. Michael Katz will come on in about 50 minutes and talk about the Ole Miss team from that perspective up in Oxford, what kind of environment LSU's walking into this weekend. So a lot more of LSU and Ole Miss as we continue to move forward here on this Friday. We're brought to you by Cork's Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp. Check out the menu, corksfishandshrimp.com. We will take a time out. When we come back, we'll go to Augusta National. Scott Rabalais is there. It's next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Fabry Chevrolet GMC, FabryChevrolet.com, FabryChevrolet.com. They are on Highway 61 in St. Francisville. Short drive from Baton Rouge. My wife and I were up there a couple of weekends ago. Just got to hop up there 110. You're there 15, 20 minutes, and you can be there at Fabry Chevrolet GMC getting great deals on trucks like the Chevy Silverados up to $11,000 off MSRP, maybe the GMC Sierra up to $13,000 off MSRP. You're talking about saving 5 figures on brand new trucks. What an awesome opportunity at Fabry Chevrolet GMC. Check out the inventory. It's all there at FabryChevrolet.com. And I just suggest you go by there and see them. The Fabry family has been serving this community for 35 years. You know what you're going to get when you walk into those doors. You're going to get a warm welcome, incredible customer service, and great service after the sale. Find them online at FabryChevrolet.com or go by and see them at Highway 61 in St. Francisville. That is Fabry Chevrolet GMC.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show. Brought to you by Corks, Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp.
Friday show is brought to you by Corks, Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp. Got a lot of LSU football to talk about today. We'll get some sound bites from DJ Pickett coming up here in 15 minutes. But for right now, let's head to Augusta, Georgia. The Masters Tournament underway at Augusta National Golf Club. Tyrrell Hatton now tied atop the leaderboard with Rory McIlroy. He's at 5 under through 16. Scott Rabalais is there for the Advocate. Joins us now on the Jim's Firearms Hotline. Scott, how are you?
I got a little sunscreen in my eyes, and I need a couple of Advil for my knees, but otherwise, I can't complain. Can't complain.
What was the sandwich of choice for lunch today?
I haven't had lunch yet today. I've been out on the course, but it's going to be I always pimento cheese. Although the ham and cheese on rye is growing on me. It's growing on me, that's for sure.
I'm glad to hear that. For a big picture, before we get to the local storylines, because there are a couple, you are out there on the grounds. You have been there many, many times. There's not been rain, and it is very warm. Is this going to be a different weekend at the Masters?
It would seem so. I mean, it was very firm yesterday. Wind, and there's still a little wind today. The wind is supposed to keep dying down. It's going to get warmer, but very low humidity. Not a cloud in the sky, as people have probably seen if they're watching the tournament. And no chance of rain. They had like a sprinkle on Sunday, around the time of the drive, chip, and putt. But that's about it. So, I talked to a gallery marshal, you chat with people, And he said he had a friend who's on the grounds crew and said, yeah, they can make the setup whatever they want with these kind of conditions. I don't imagine they're going to soften it up too much. That said, yes, I think it's playing hard. That said, Darrell Hatton was 7 under today. I wasn't sure that there was that kind of round out there all week. And he's got it going right now. Of course, he's Carroll. He's gonna blow up at some point and fall back, but he's got it going right now. So, but I think the winning score is going to be a little higher than what we've seen the last couple of years. I'd love it to be like about 280. I'm a bit of a masochist when it comes to golf major championships. I wanted to shoot a million. But, 280 means there's been some good scoring, but it's been some tough conditions. That would be a fine score by Sunday. Hope that's what we have.
Sam Burns off to an amazing start yesterday. He was bogey-free on his round of 67, shared the lead with Rory McIlroy overnight. He is through 6 holes by my count, just 1 over today, dropped the shot at the par 4 fifth. He has not had a great major championship record, was right there in the mix in the U.S. Open and got a little bit of a tough break with the casual water and not getting a drop. But what do you attribute Sam's lack of success in major championships to, and what could be different this weekend?
That's an excellent question because he's got it. He's got everything. I remember talking, to Chuck Winstead, his college coach at the time. And he's got everything you want. He hits the ball a long way. He's a great iron player. He's got a great touch around the green. He's a great putter. And he's got that even feel. He doesn't get too high or too low. He's not going to have a big blow up or just start jumping around the green if he makes a birdie putt. So, he's got everything you want. I don't know what it's been. I think, certainly he's won some tournaments. He's been in the Ryder Cup. He's been up to 9th in the world, which obviously takes a lot. He's still 33rd in the world. It's not like I know he hadn't won in like 3 years, but it's not like he's been just fallen off the radar completely. And has, was close in the U.S. Open last year, had the lead going to the final round, faded a little bit, tied 7th, was 1 stroke off the lead in 2024 at Troon. And, that was a bad day. He had like an 80. Yeah. But I don't know. I don't know if I had to pick something, I would say he's not quite as maybe driven or just, it takes a lot. Golf is a very, very selfish sport, if I may say so. You have to, it's all for you. And you can say you win it for your family, but it's all about you. The opportunity to play in big tournaments as a junior. You may have a team with a nutritionist and a psychologist and a strength coach, but you've got to hit that wedge shot tucked in right behind the bunker to make a birdie to win the tournament. And some guys just live for that. And I don't think it's not all about that for Sam. He's very openly religious. He's got a family now, a child, and another one on the way. And I think he's got a lot of other things in his life that he cares about other than just, chasing a little white golf ball around. But I think he wants to win. You can't get out here if you don't want to win. So hopefully he'll break through one day because he has got the game, I've always thought, to be a major champion.
We just poured in a birdie on the par 4 7th, which is a heck of a birdie. So he pulls even with Tyrrell Hatton, but at the same time, Rory McIlroy makes birdie on number 2. So he is 6 under, solo in the lead. Patrick Reed with some roots here in Baton Rouge as well, a Masters champion. He's 4 under, now 2 off McIlroy's pace. He's through 4 holes today. I picked him to win on Wednesday. I just think his short game is amazing. I think the fact that he hits a draw is tailor-made for that place. And I don't think he gives a rip what anybody thinks about him. What's your sense on Patrick Reed this weekend?
I think Patrick Reed's a fine pick. He was third last year, just out of the playoff between Rory and Justin Rose. He's won here, and he's gotten a little closer to the top of the leaderboard since he won in 2018. He's got a little closer to the top of the leaderboard time after time. He's had 4 top 10 finishes since then. So experience counts for a lot here, as I know Hunt. No rookie has won this tournament since 1979. So he's got that now. He's mid-30s, still in his prime, and he's been playing well. He obviously said he's coming back to the PGA Tours. They're playing a lot of the DP World Tours. Won a couple of tournaments on that circuit. So he's had some of the best form of any player you could think of in the world coming in here. So it's not a bad pick at all. If Patrick's got the putter going, he had one really bad break yesterday. He hit just kind of right on the back edge of the green at 15. The ball bounded all the way into the pond by 16. And he made a bogey. He didn't make like a huge number, and he didn't flip off the pond like Robert McIntyre did. But I think he's got a chance to be there, and how popular a win that would be, I don't know. But I don't know. You may disagree. I think people are kind of softening on Patrick Reed a little bit as time goes by, and especially with him coming back to the PGA Tour. I think that helps his image, I think.
Yeah, I think that does, and the fact that he's been out of the limelight, he's on a tour nobody watches, so that helps. Right. If you're out of sight, you're out of mind. I think I'm curious your thoughts on the ground from this. Justin Rose has had as much heartache on that golf course as anybody in recent memory. He is now 5 under par. He is one shot off the lead, put himself in position again. He's got 3 holes to play today. What is his reception like around that place?
Oh, very much. I think he's very much a sentimental favorite this year. I mean, as much as Rory last year, trying to complete the career Grand Slam and finally get that green jacket, maybe not quite, but people know. People know he's been a runner-up 3 times. He's lost 2 playoffs to Sergio Garcia in 2017, and last year to McIlroy. The only other player to do that was Ben Hogan, and he won the Masters twice. So time is ticking for Justin. He's 45. It's hard to believe. I remember when he was an 18-year-old, finishing like 4th in the British Open as an amateur, and it was like his big debut. Look, as I wrote in my column, I wrote about him on Monday. Shed no tears for Justin Rose. He's got a U.S. Open title. He's got an Olympic gold medal. He's been number 1 in the world. He'll be in the Golf Hall of Fame. But he doesn't have many more chances and many more bites at the major championship apple, and he knows that. But his game is still strong. He played well and won going away in San Diego earlier this year. So I think of 2 most sentimental favorites this week. It would be Justin Rose and Gary Woodland, and so I think he's right at the top. And I think the galleries, the patrons here know his story and would like to see him finally win.
Who's your pick at this point?
I've been saying Scheffler all along. Haven't really, he's kind of he's doing okay. He's 3 under, tied for 14th, kind of lurking behind the leaders right now. I watched him a little bit this morning on the front 9. It's hard to go with, like I said, experience counts for a lot. I know he hasn't been on the best form this year coming in here like he did 2 years ago when he won the Players in this. That's why I kind of like Cam Young going into the week. Won the Players, now he's here. But I'll still go with Scheffler. I'm going against McIlroy because it's so hard to repeat. Only 3 guys have ever repeated as Masters champion. It's very difficult. But he certainly could win.
The only guy I see on this leaderboard that I cannot have winning is Tyrrell Hatton. So you just do your best to make sure that doesn't happen, and I'll consider your trip to Augusta a success. Something will happen with Tyrrell. He'll snap a club over his knee or something like that. But hey, speaking of clubs, you saw Bryson is playing with a 3D printed 5-iron this week? Yes, we talked about it yesterday. Do you have any thoughts on that? I gave mine. He's the biggest goofball who he's trying to trick people into thinking he's smart. He's not.
I just shake my head at Bryson. Yeah, it's like I don't think it's an act. I think his mind just goes in a lot of different directions, and I think look, he's got 2 U.S. Open.
He does.
It's not like he can't play and play the highest level, but he's just. I can see why he irritated Brooks Koepka.
Yeah. Well, he needs to 3D print something that allows him to get out of the bunker on 11 in less than 3 attempts. That looks like me out there on a Saturday, not a top 10 player in the world.
Hey, one last thing. So I'm watching Sam yesterday. I made a little note in my notebook today. I'm watching Sam birdie 13. I turn around. There's Fernando Mendoza. So I said hello to him. I didn't try to interview him. I said, Fernando, first time at Augusta? Yes, sir. Yeah, he was very polite. He's a big dude. I didn't think he was like Drew Brees size, but man, he's a really big dude. Very broad shoulders, about 6'4". I was surprised how physically impressive he was.
He's about to be a very rich dude, and sometimes those quarterbacks will sneak up on you. I remember the first time I saw Greg McElroy, and I was like, that guy didn't look very big at all on a football field. He's a big dude, but they're surrounded by giants at all times when you see them. So that's how it goes. Well, Scott, enjoy the weekend. We'll be reading from back home, and safe travels back to Baton Rouge.
Thank you, Hud. Always a pleasure. That
is Scott Rabalais with The Advocate there at Augusta National. He's covering the Masters. It's shaping up to be a heck of a weekend for those of us that love golf. Augusta has complete control of that golf course now. The weather is not going to be an issue. Sometimes it rains. There's nothing you can do, and the place is just really soft. when it doesn't rain, you can control how soft it is with sprinklers. And I think the Masters are going to let this thing bake out a little bit. And I think it's going to be a difficult golf course for the next couple of days. And that makes for very interesting stuff. So we'll see. Appreciate Scott for jumping aboard. Let's jump into LSU football. We'll talk about DJ Pickett when we come back.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Boudreaux's Electrical Services. Boudreaux's Electrical Services. Hurricane season's always around the corner, right? Don't wait until the hurricane's in the Gulf to go, I really don't want to lose my power. Let's get a generator. How about you take care of that now? How about you do that with the local team? Boudreaux's Electrical, Neil and Melissa have been running it as a family-owned and operated company for 40 years. They'll have a full-time set of employees come and install your generator. They will monitor your generator remotely to see if there are any mechanical issues. They will do your maintenance if you need it so that when your power does go out, your generator is ready to clip on. Whether that's during a hurricane, whether that's during one of our nasty summer storms, maybe we got a winter event. Sometimes the power just goes out and nobody knows why. That happens more than you'd like. It's a nuisance. Then it's about to get hot. You don't have any power. You don't have any AC. Your house is uninhabitable. Don't let that happen to you. Give yourself the peace of mind with that Generac home standby generator from the folks at Boudreaux's Electrical Services. They're at 985-397-1562. That's 985-397-1562. Or the Gonzales location, 225-393-89. Or just do it the easy way. Check them out at boudreauxelectrical.com.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show. Brought to you by Quirks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp.
Show is brought to you by Quartz. Remind you about my friends over at Marucci. Go take a tour over at Marucci. Such a cool spot here in Baton Rouge. I tell you about them every day, but it's an amazing thing that we've got the official home, the official bat of the Major League Baseball. Its home is right here in Baton Rouge. It's such a cool thing. You would think that would be, somewhere national or Louisville. No, right here at Marucci. And they started in a backyard shed 20 years ago. What an incredible story to tell. And they'll tell you if you go take a tour. You can go see where they make 1,200 bats every single day. You can take a look at where they saw them down, take a look at where they stain them. You can grab one, jump in the cage in the hitter's house. If you go to maruccisports.com/campus-tour, you can book a tour. Book one for your Little League baseball team. Book one for your softball team. Book one for your family. Go yourself. See where Marucci makes the official bat of Major League Baseball. Every ticket to the tour comes with a 20% discount on the Campus Tour store and in the Hitter's House. Check them out at maruccisports.com. All right, let's talk a little bit about DJ Pickett, who clearly is moving into a different role this year. He met with the media back on Thursday, and I have a story up at louisianasports.net that includes some of the quotes from him. But he had some interesting perspective. Obviously, last year, he started 3 games, played in all 13, was LSU's essentially third corner. I would suggest P.J. Woodland was probably the second corner, Mansour Delane obviously the first. But Pickett played a lot. Had 3 interceptions, had 3 pass breakups, got picked on a little bit, especially in the game at Ole Miss. Got flagged for a big pass interference call and gave up a touchdown. But he was really good. On3 named him the National True Freshman Defensive Player of the Year. He was given a freshman All-American honors. He was a freshman All-SEC as well, obviously. I thought he did a good job, especially considering that he played kind of undersized from a weight perspective. Like when you're 6'5", like he is, no corners are 6'5". It's just it's hard to put on weight at that age to be able to play physically with some of the receivers at the SEC level. I thought he had a really nice freshman year. Here's what DJ had to say about his freshman season.
To most people would think that I had a pretty good year, but I feel like I could have done a lot better. A lot of things I'm working on right now to limit those mistakes that I had. Like I said, it's just being mentally better this year. But I feel like this freshman year that I had, it was pretty good. But I just feel like I need to probably just get a little stronger, a little bigger. Just knowing the game more.
That's going to come with time. It's just, again, a 6'5" high school senior is generally not going to be swole. It's just, at 17, 18 years old, just not how it goes. So he'll continue to put on weight. He has put on a little bit of weight in this offseason, and now he likely steps in LSU's #1 corner. The good news is that he got a pretty good look at how to play that role because he saw the guy that's going to be the first corner taken in the draft. He saw the guy that was the top corner in the country in terms of All-American. He was second in Thorpe voting, and that was to a safety in Caleb Downs. He was the best corner in college football last year in Mansour Delane, and DJ Pickett got to watch him. What did he see?
Just knowing the game, knowing what's about to come, being smart, watching film, each and every play, he's locked in. It's just having that want to know mentality. That's what he had. And like he said, he had that underdog mentality. So that's why I want to carry it to my game. So just get that from him. It was pretty good.
It's going to be hard for DJ to bring the underdog mentality to his game. He was the number one corner in the country coming out of high school. He's been a star his entire life. And Mansour Delane was a nice player at Virginia Tech, but he blossomed into the best corner in the country. And I don't think when Mansour Delane decided to transfer to LSU, anybody was projecting him as the number one cornerback in the country, but it did happen. Why did that happen? It happened in part because he put the work in, and in part because he's got a great coach in Corey Raymond to mentor him. And so you've still got Corey Raymond in place, and you've got a former five-star who's entering his second season as the top corner. And so what are the expectations, and how does DJ Pickett manage those this year?
Like, not gonna lie, Coach Raymond, he keeps me locked in. He don't tell me the good, he tells me the bad, really. So him preparing me for like stuff like that is really helpful. Like I said, like he don't tell me nothing good, just tell me everything that I need to work on so I can work on those things.
Corey Raymond is a star. Like, I don't have another way to say that. And you hear that in DJ Pickett's voice. We're going to get to another cut here in a second, but folks that play that position, cornerback spot, are going to want to come play for Corey Raymond because of his track record and because of the way that he coaches. I would not call Corey Raymond a player's coach. You go to practice, and Corey Raymond is demanding. He's not loud, but he's constantly on those guys. He's constantly coaching them. He's making them do drills a second time, and he demands excellence. And when you have coached Mansour Delane and Derek Stingley and Dante Jackson and Tre'Davious White, and you're bringing in recruits the level of DJ Pickett and Eli Ricks, Christian Fulton, like, there is a level of expectation when you walk into that room, and he's going to make sure that you meet it, and he's going to let you know if you're not. And that's a tough thing these days to do, because if you coach a guy hard, like, they can leave. I don't really like that, coach. See ya. Who's going to pay me more than this? And Corey Raymond doesn't care. And guys respect that. Guys that want to be great. And so you see a really good retention rate for LSU at that position. And DJ Pickett talked about, he just told you, he doesn't tell me anything good. He tells me everything that I did wrong. And that sounds harsh. Like, you want positive reinforcement. But listen to this bite on what DJ Pickett thinks of Corey Raymond.
To be honest, he's not just a coach to me. Like, he's a real mentor outside of my dad. I see him as a father figure. So him just, like, I thank him a lot. Like, just he helped me grow as a cornerback, just to get where I'm at right now. So I like, he helped me a lot. So,
listen to that. He's a father figure outside of my dad. Think of him as more as a coach, as a mentor. And that's pretty special in this day and age. Guys just hop school to school. How much relationship do you even have with your coach, right? Just who's got the next NIL payment. But LSU is going to be set at the cornerback spot as long as Corey Raymond is there. It makes it even more incomprehensible that Brian Kelly let him walk out the door in 2022. Just unfathomable that happened. Because DJ Pickett's not going to be the last in line here. Guys line up to come play for LSU to play for Corey Raymond at that spot because of all the names I rattled off and because of the sound that DJ Pickett just gave you. That's a guy who in high school was probably told how good he was for 4 years. Was told by every recruiting analyst, every coach, all the guys recruiting him. And then he comes to LSU, why? To play for Corey Raymond at DBU. And he tells you that, one, this guy never tells me the good stuff. He's on me about all the bad stuff. And on the same breath says, and he's more than a coach. He's a mentor. Like, that's a special deal LSU has at that position. And it matters. And you bring in five-star cornerbacks for visits. And they go to DJ Pickett, who was a five-star cornerback. And like, what's this like? Dude, you can't play anywhere else. That's why Havon Finney's here. When there was a coaching transition, Havon Finney did interviews with recruiting analysts. Said basically like, hey, Blake Baker's back, and that's great. Corey's back, like, I'm in. If not, well, we'll look around. That's the hook. And I just don't know how many schools that type of pull and that type of reputation precedes a coach. I'm certainly not suggesting LSU is the only place in the country that has a position group with a position coach that churns out pros and has great stability and has a reputation. That's not the case at all. That happens at plenty of places. But LSU at corner is very, very special. And you saw that LSU dipped to 118th in the country in pass defense in 2023, Jaden's Heisman year. 113th. And they moved all the way up to about 40th this past year. And that's just going to get better. It's just going to get better. Because Corey Raymond is going to recruit and develop. And I'll tell you this. I was surprised that LSU did not go get a veteran corner in the transfer portal. I was surprised. Because you got Pickett, you got Woodland, Jakeem Jackson came back, Aiden Anding's in the mix, you bring in Havon Finney, you got Michael Turner. Like, you have some numbers, but you feel like you have the ability to go out and supplement every position group, not just corner, but and you didn't do that at corner. You did it just about everywhere else. And what it tells me is that Corey likes his guys. And I think that starts with DJ Pickett, starts with PJ Woodland as well. I think he feels good about Jakeem Jackson, who he's taken two different places, Florida and LSU. And I think he thinks his young players can play. And so that gives me some comfort. Corey Raymond has earned my implicit trust. Whatever he says at that position goes. And I think that the power with which DJ Pickett spoke about him it says something. And so while that position group is kind of light in terms of bulk, light in terms of depth, I think Corey Raymond likes his guys. I think that starts with DJ Pickett, and I think LSU is going to be good at corner. And I think DJ Pickett is going to have a monster next 2 years at LSU. In an era of inconsistency and roster turnover and tumult, there's one position group at LSU that I look at and go, I think they're going to be just fine. That's corner. They're going to be just fine. And DJ Pickett said as much. If you want to check out that story I wrote at LouisianaSports.net, you can find it. It's on the homepage for free. Everything we write at LouisianaSports.net is free, so always invite you to go check that out. We'll have a practice report tomorrow from inside Tiger Stadium. LSU will be on the practice field at about 11:15 in Tiger Stadium. I shouldn't say practice field. They'll be on the field at Tiger Stadium at 11:15. We'll have a practice report up in the afternoon. So looking forward to getting inside Tiger Stadium for the first time since November, I guess, when we get in there on Saturday morning, and we'll have a practice report up in the afternoon. All right, we'll come back and close out the hour next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Always, always, always love telling you about my friends at Swing Easy Golf Club. SwingEasyGCBR.com is the website, SwingEasyGCBR.com. Big weekend in the world of golf, right? You want to watch it and hit some balls at the same time in the air conditioning? You can do that at Swing Easy Golf Club, and you can play that course. Take your try on 11, 12, 13. You know the name. Get on by and see them. It's a really cool way to experience golf. They can bring you a bucket full of beers, seltzers. You can watch the tournament on the television. You can play the course there on the simulator. Bring some buddies. Do it on Saturday. Do it on Sunday. They're open into the evening hours as well. So go by and see them on Segan at Perkins. Memberships are available. You can get a personal membership. So you can stop in at lunch, hit some balls. You get X number of hours at the beginning of the month for free if you're a member. If you get a corporate membership, you can host clients. A great place to hang out. Do something a little bit different. Not everyone's played simulator golf. If you haven't, get on by and see them at Swing Easy Golf Club. They're on Segan at Perkins. SwingEasyGCBR.com.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Quirks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp.
The Highland Insurance Group is online at HighlandIG.com. That's HighlandIG.com. Jonathan Carbo and his team are phenomenal folks to work with. I tell you most often about the fact that they can help you with property and casualty, and they certainly can. They can get you into a captive if you fit and qualify, and they can help you with all your property and casualty needs from a commercial insurance perspective. They can also do group and employee benefits. So if you are running a business and you need to make sure that your employees are taken care of from a benefits perspective, that healthcare is on point. Or if you are just really unhappy with your renewal and you've got a price increase that's just making things too difficult to deal with, let the Highland Insurance Group take another look. They were telling me a couple months ago that there is this one carrier in Louisiana that's really driving up rates when it comes to group benefits. If you've had a couple bad renewals in a row and just want a second set of eyes, the Highland Insurance Group is happy to help you out with that. So you can stop them by their office here in Baton Rouge or contact them at highlandig.com. Jonathan Carver and his team was happy to get back with you. It's the Highland Insurance Group online at highlandig.com. Just a brief nugget on LSU and Ole Miss this weekend. I'll get a little bit more in-depth in the second hour. And Michael Katz is going to be here in 10 minutes. He covers Ole Miss for the Northeast Mississippi Daily Journal, so he'll have more perspective than I do. But this is a really important weekend for the LSU pitchers. This is an Ole Miss offense that has really, really, really struggled. I've got their SEC batting statistics in front of me. They are hitting .212 as a team in conference play. They've had a nice go by Hayden Federico. He's hitting .300, but he's not a home run threat. He doesn't have one in their 12 league games. Judd Utermark is going to set the Ole Miss all-time home run record this year. He's got a pair of homers. He's hitting .277 in league play. Eddie Furness's kid, Will Furness, has had a nice year. He's hitting .256 in league play. Got a homer. He makes more contact than most of their guys. Everybody else in that lineup is hitting below .235 in league play. You do have to worry about Tristan Bissetta running the ball out of the ballpark. He's a transfer from Clemson who's been a massive, massive positive for them. And they will hit home runs. Ole Miss is going to hit some home runs this weekend. That's going to happen. But they strike out a ton. A ton. And that's something LSU is going to have to dig into. If you look at Ole Miss in league play, they are 15th in batting average. They are 14th, which means the third most strikeouts. They are 14th in runs scored. They are last in hits in league play. So while LSU has gotten into some slugfests over the last couple of weeks with Tennessee and Kentucky, that is not happening if LSU pitches to its standard this weekend. And I believe Ole Miss will pitch to its standard. And Ole Miss is a really good pitching team, and LSU has not shown the ability to hit really good pitching. So if you're Kason Evans, you're William Schmidt, you're Grant Fontenot, you're Zach Cowan, Gavin Guidry, all those guys, Devin Sheeran that LSU figures to go to, you need to hold this lineup down. I believe these games are going to be played sub-6 unless the wind is just howling out. And so the key here for LSU is don't walk guys. Don't hit guys and put them on base in front of the homer. Don't kick a ground ball, and if you do kick a ground ball or you do make a bad throw and you do award a free base, the pitcher's got to step up and get the punch out. This team will strike out. They don't get a lot of hits. They played a game against Mississippi State earlier this year, 2 weeks ago. They went 0 for 15 with runners on base. They don't move the baseball. They strike out a ton. And if LSU is going to win this series, the pitchers are going to have to step up and handle this Ole Miss lineup because I don't think LSU is scoring a lot. So that's the key here. That's what's got to happen. And I think it can, but it's got to get going. Because I can't sit here in good faith and tell you that, hey, like Kason Evans like has good stuff, like it could click. Well, we've played 8 weeks now. And we've got 6 to go. At some point it's got to click, or it's just maybe not. And he has not been bad. But you've got to be closer to the Oklahoma guy that went 7 1/3 and struck out 15 than you do to the guy who went out there against Vanderbilt and got rocked. Went out there against Tennessee and struggled with command early. Went out there against Kentucky and couldn't throw it over the plate. Walked the first guy on 4 pitches, hit a guy like that. That won't fly. And so there are instances where your team can bail you out of it offensively. On Sundays, LSU's done it. This is not that. So for Kason Evans, for William Schmidt, if you're dudes, if you're stepping into your sophomore year and you're going to be dudes that help LSU win enough games in the second half of this conference season to get into the field or to host a regional, one of the two, then it needs to start. And it needs to start tonight. And I've given this speech like 3 times already, and he answered the bell against Oklahoma. But it's important tonight. This is, I said at the top of the show, if you just jumped in, like Ole Miss's best pitcher goes on Saturday and a flamethrower goes on Sunday, and LSU has not handled those guys well. You can handle Hunter Elliott. He's a bulldog, but you can handle him. And Casey Evans needs to match him and more pitch for pitch tonight at Swayze Field. If he does, LSU's in good position. They can win this series. If he walks guys and he gives up 5 runs because he gave up 2 homers and walked 2 guys, and LSU loses 5-2 tonight, then you're in trouble on Saturday. You just are. You need to get it done tonight, and that's got to start with Casey Evans. I feel like in my analysis of this series, if you've listened for an hour, I appreciate that. Not a lot of you do that. It's more of an in and out type deal, and then the audience turns over. But if you've listened for an hour, I gave you a pretty grim view of this series from an Ole Miss pitching perspective, and I believe that. This is the flip of that. You can mow through this lineup. They got dudes in this lineup that aren't hitting worth a flip. Dom Decker plays every day. He's hitting 150 in SEC play. Colin Reuter plays every day, 12 SEC games. He's hitting 114. Austin Foley plays every day, played all 12 SEC games, hitting 200. Braden Randall plays every day, all 12 SEC games. He's hitting 190. Like, this is the bottom of their order. They're all hitting 200 and sub. Plow through it. No walks. Don't hit 3 guys. Catch the baseball and hold Ole Miss to, on the weekend, 17 runs. You hold Ole Miss to 17 runs over 3 games, you should have a shot. Especially if one of those is 3. And then you've got, 7-7 in the others. But you got to do it. You've got to do it. It can be done, but you got to do it. That's it for hour number 1 here. We're brought to you by Cork's Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp. Looking for some grub this evening. Stop on by their location between Government between Foster and Jefferson. Check out that menu online, corksfishandshrimp.com. They can cater as well if you got a big gathering, if you're hosting a family reunion, a birthday party, or just feeding the office lunch one day. Corks is happy to feed in bulk. Check them out at corksfishandshrimp.com. We got a lot to do in hour number 2. We'll talk a little bit about the Masters. We'll do a little bit more on LSU baseball and football. And Michael Katz from the Northeast Mississippi Daily Journal is going to be with us in 5 minutes talking Ole Miss Rebels. Come back with us after Sports Center. It's the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Lifetime Roofing, lifetimeroofingla.com. Lifetimeroofingla.com is that website. Look, they got financing available at Lifetime Roofing. 0% up to 18 months. That's one of the hurdles that you look at when you're talking about buying a roof. It can be expensive, but they can finance it for you. What about roofers that come in, do that work, and then they're gone, you never hear from them again because they came in after a storm? Well, that's a problem. Never going to happen with Lifetime Roofing. They're Baton Rouge-based. They're guys from South Louisiana that are here for the long haul. And, oh, by the way, they can offer a lifetime workmanship warranty. That warranty is on that workmanship, obviously. It's also on the materials that are backed by Certainteed, one of the oldest and most trusted names in building materials. If you're looking for financing, they got it. Looking for a lifetime warranty, they got it. It's all here at Lifetime Roofing. So if you think you may have an issue, you want that inspection, let Lifetime Roofing come out and check it out for you. They're online at lifetimeroofingla.com. That's Lifetime Roofing at lifetimeroofingla.com.